Episode 9 of Season 6 of the Northstars Show is underway. Joining me right now is Michael Venn. Michael, you weren't playing on the weekend because you got a bad wing, but you were down at the games, saw what happened. This is going to probably be the shortest what happened here ever.
No, probably, yeah.
But we probably don't want to talk about it, but we have this segment and we kind of have a format for the show and we just can't stray from it, right? We're like old dogs. We can't learn new tricks. So what just happened here? Winnipeg Thrashers were in town.
Not much to say. It was 2 tough losses. I think we only got like 1 goal for or something. You know, lots of shots on net from them. Yeah, it was pretty much 2 bad losses in my opinion. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, 1 goal for Alex Murray late in the first game, snapped one home to break the shutout. First period of the first game looked good, and then it just seemed like, I don't know if it was the speed or the guys got down on themselves, but it just kind of spiraled after that. A couple of dust-ups in the second game. I wasn't here to see him. I think Calum got into a little bit of tussle.
Yeah, he did. So did Charles there in the corner. Calum's was pretty good. You know, they were throwing bombs the whole time. It was a good fight. Yeah, I liked it a lot. Rest threw him down too. It was quite the scene.
And then Mange felt the adrenaline.
Yeah, I guess so. You know, he takes a lot of stuff because he's a little guy out there.
Yeah,
you know, so he kind of snapped, and you know, he wrestled the guy down, threw a couple punches in, and the refs broke that one up too.
Beautiful. We don't encourage the fighting at all, but gave the fans something to cheer about, I guess. So that's what happened here. Thanks for letting us know. Can you hang on to this for just a second, so as if you're interviewing me? So underneath the coat this time around, we're repping for the Trojan Athletics. Junior boys volleyball team won zones out in the PAW last weekend, or a couple weekends ago. They're headed down to Landmark. The junior girls and both the senior teams made the finals, didn't quite make it down to provincials, but fantastic showing from Trojan Athletics. They're sort of our cousins next door to the Northstars and minor hockey and stuff, so we got that under the coat this week. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Bruce Krentz, mouthpiece of the show. Behind the camera, a guy that's starting to shake a little bit, because you know what's coming?
What's coming?
Christmas concert season. This is not easy on Paul. Nobody has watched more Christmas concerts than him, and you can tell he's getting a little antsy because he's got a lot of weeks of little kids singing coming up. But he's behind the camera. He's the executive producer. He keeps it all together. Coming up on the show, keeping it a family affair, I've got my brother, Michael Krentz, and Craig Nychyporuk on Minor Hockey Moment, talking about the Pee Wee program and how they sort of work together at the beginning of the year and how that's going. Sounds really good. We've got a 2-on-1 with questions from Kelsey Pollock. We always ask for questions. Kelsey's come up huge for us. She brought in some really dynamite questions, fed them to Rambow because he showed up. He was, I don't want to say unprepared. Let's go with that. I was going to go clueless, but that was tricky because we caught him at the last second, picking on Dustin Parker. And then we talked to Coach Cody Genaille, not so much about the weekend, but about his trip down to the PAW to do an extra coaching clinic. And good thoughts from him on that too. So it's all right here on episode 9 of the Northstars Show. This is a minor hockey moment, a time when we explore all different aspects of minor hockey, from what happens on the rink to outside of the rink, and sort of all winter long. Joining me, a couple guys right now that are involved with the Pee Wee program here in Thompson this time around. I've got Craig Nychyporuk, he's with the Pee Wee A's, and I got Michael Krentz with the Pee Wee Double A's. I got to get something out of the way right away. I was really kind of nervous about names in this interview because I call him Mark all the time for reasons unknown. You look like a Mark to me. And a lot of people know Michael as Mike, but he's Michael to me. So I'm going to juggle those names around throughout the interview. But these guys have done a lot of really innovative stuff. Before we talk about that, though, some good history here. Couple of ex-Northstars on the Northstars Show. You played
92, 93.
And had approximately how many wins?
I'm going to guess 17, but you'd have to go to the stats.
Okay, this is going to go downhill from here, but we talked about this. Craig?
I played 04-05. 04 was a lot better season than 05 was, and we had a total of 3 wins.
I think we were all there. That still brought the fans in, though. It was an exciting brand of hockey.
Yeah, we played a hard game. Very hard game.
Since then, though, you've been involved in hockey in a whole bunch of different ways. Kept playing after that. We're all Kings on the Thompson Kings Hockey Club. Got to represent there, and that's how we got to be good friends and see each other around the rink a lot. Beyond that, what sort of coaching have you done?
I've coached Bantam AA and A for a couple of years. I also coached midget AA for 2 years, and I've had novice experience. Adam, now I'm finally actually first-time Pee Wee coach.
And you're first-time Pee Wee coach now. Now you've got a son playing, which is a little bit different than when you're just one of the guys on the bench. How does that feel? What's the difference for you?
Well, you try to treat all the kids the same, but when you have your own kid at the bench, it does make it a little more tough. It does, I'm not going to lie, but it's going okay.
So far, so good. I like that. And Michael, you've got some coaching too. Tell us a little bit about that, and yeah, start us there.
Not nearly as much as Craig, just following my son through the ranks, novice, pre-novice, Adam, Pee Wee now.
And same question, I guess. How does it feel to be coaching him? Is it tough? Is it great? Is it a little bit of both?
It's a little bit of both. I think it's rewarding. Certainly, you do have to try to make sure you've got your kid appropriately on the depth chart and you're not favoring them, but you also got to be mindful not to be too hard on them as well.
I think we've all seen both sides of that spectrum for sure. Your coaching staff, you got a couple guys on coaching with you that don't have kids in hockey, and you've had that the last couple of years. What do you think about that? How do you attract them, and do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's great. Been really fortunate to get some really knowledgeable coaches. Throw out a few names. Ricky Stabak, former North Star.
Anna King.
Yeah, and we've got Ty Davis doing the goaltending coaching. Again, a former North Star, doesn't have a kid on our team.
Anna King.
Alex Burton, I've been lucky to have coached with him for 4 years, tons of knowledge, played really good hockey. He's a phys ed teacher, so he brings a teaching aspect, and he's great with the kids. So I see it as all positives. There aren't biases towards their own kids, and I think the kids have a good rapport with somebody other than somebody else's dad. So it works out real well.
We'd like to ask you what your secret is to getting those guys, because I think everybody'd like to have some of those coaches on their team, but you just got to go out and find them.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, it's the same group of guys that we play hockey with, and I think they all have a love for the game and give a little back, so it's excellent.
And you, I'm going to throw out a mark just because I said I was going to. Who do you have coaching with you this year?
Well, I got Steve Hall. His son's on the team, but Steve actually, he's pretty fair with all the kids. He knows where his boundaries are with his son, and it's been really good. I also have my father, Murray Nychyporuk, ex-North Star coach for probably a good 6 years. He also followed me up through the ranks before he went on to AAA, and he also coaches the Bantam AAA team.
He's busy down here at the rink. Pretty cool story having the 3 generations on the bench with you guys too. Might have to just get you guys special Nychyporuk show one of these days. Yeah, we'll see how you make out here. If we get over 300 YouTube views, Murray's in.
Sure.
So you guys did something innovative at the beginning of the year. You did your tryouts together, which to me makes a lot of sense. And I'm guessing it's not the very first time it's ever happened, but I can't remember the last time it did. Tell us a bit about it and how you think it went.
I think it's the first time.
Yourself a little pat on the back. What the heck? Why not?
Yeah, I think it went really well. Traditionally, you only had a weekend to pick your team 4 ice times over 2 or 3 days, and sometimes that doesn't stack up very well for one kid who might not be feeling up to it or nervous or whatever that might be. So adding a little extra time, we're not going on the road till next weekend, and so we got lots of time to make those decisions, and I think it helped a little bit for both of us to get an extra look. We had 8 ice times and sort of split those kids up and did some different stuff with it.
And just from your perspective as well, I mean, he got 2 weekends to look at presumably the top kids, and how do you feel it went for you?
I thought it was actually pretty good because, like Mike said, you get 2 weekends to look at kids. I know me personally, I had a couple of kids who won their jobs on that second weekend, and I think it also helped with those 2 weekends just because me and Mike have a great rapport to begin with, so it made things a lot more smooth.
It was an easy one for sure. This gets a little bit deep into the weeds in the Pee Wee League, but you're short on goaltenders just numbers-wise. How has that been so far this year, and how are you guys handling that?
If there's any parents watching, please buy some pads for your kids because yeah, any injuries could really cripple the program.
Yeah, tricky for you as well. You've done a few innovative things, brought some different kids in. How are you handling this?
Yeah, it's tough. We'd like more, but just trying to invite some other kids out to practices gives them some development. We've had one of the Bantam goalies out. Last practice we had one of the Adam AA goalies out, and we share some of that coaching that Ty's bringing and a little extra ice time, and it helps us out with 2 goalies at every practice. So it's gone okay.
We should have given a little backstory. There's 2 goalies right now for 2 teams, and generally you'd like to have a little bit more than that.
Yeah, it's always good to have healthy competition in practice too, right? Because I don't think our goalies have the problem being complacent, but it's always nice to have the extra goalie so they push each other, right? Which is what you want, but it is what it is.
Easier to run drills with 2 goalies too. So just for people that aren't maybe familiar with the Pee Wee age group and where the kids are at, what are the sort of things that you work on in Pee Wee? Where are they at sort of developmentally?
This year we've been doing a lot of just basic hockey when it comes to just knowing your position. We're not getting to assists because we still need to focus on the kids' skill as well, right? It's all about the grassroots level, but at the same time though, these kids they need to start learning where their positioning is, right? Because a lot of things I hear from other coaches that coach older age groups is that they get kids that they don't know their positioning yet, so I kind of want to help bridge that gap. Yeah.
It's a tricky spot, you're right, between skill development and systems and things like that. Same question to you, and on the flip side, a little bit, I think, with the AA kids, oftentimes you've got some kids that are still not mature and some that are a lot more mature, and that end of Pee Wee, beginning of Bantam is a tricky time, so how do you deal with that, or some thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think, well, similar to Craig, we're still basic positioning. We're maybe a half step ahead that we're starting to implement those forecheck and systems and power play, penalty kill, that sort of thing. Maturity-wise, it certainly is tricky. This is an age where we've got some kids that look like adults, and we've got some kids that still look like boys. But everybody seems to get along, and once they've got their gear on and they're all hustling, they're one and the same. So it goes pretty good.
On our men's team, we still have some guys that look like men and some that look like kids. How does the year look for you guys? You're headed out of town this weekend. How many tournaments? Lots of travel, not too much travel, dry land? How does the year look for these guys?
We're headed out of town. Everybody's pretty excited. It's been a long wait since tryouts in September. So headed to the PAW. Looks pretty good. Traditionally, this group of kids, there's a core that's sort of been together throughout a few years, and traditionally we've done pretty good in the north, but don't want to count our chickens by any means, but they're excited to get back out there. It's an interesting age because they know a lot of the kids, and the new age of social media, they keep in touch with those kids from Flin Flon and the PAW, so they're anxious. It's healthy competition, but hopefully it goes well this weekend.
Stay tuned to Snapchat. There's going to be all sorts of stories out there. Same question for you. How does the year look? Probably pretty similar to theirs. 4 or 5 trips?
5 trips, our home tournaments. I'm as excited as the kids right now for this weekend. I can't wait to see what they actually got. We've worked on a lot, and they've been catching on, so I think it's going to be a good weekend.
For sure. Guys, thanks for joining me. You've had a couple good seasons in the last couple of years. We're hoping that continues at the home tournament and on and on. Mike, Michael, Craig, Mark, thanks for joining me.
All right, time to go. Hi, my name is Marco Nepatebo. I wear number 24 for my Northstars. My position is forward. My hometown is Thompson, Manitoba, and my elementary school is Westwood. Favorite player is Nathan McKinnon.
So, Cody, you weren't here on the weekend, and I actually made it to one of the games, and the boys didn't do so good. So you got to come back, and maybe I'll stay away from the rink for a little while. Weekend didn't go very well. You were out of town, couldn't be on the bench this weekend. Tell us where you were.
I was in the PAW for my Development 1 coaching. Just like the players, I have to upgrade myself as well for this high level of competition. So that was pretty fun.
Pretty good clinic. I know sometimes I did the the reffing. I haven't done any reffing. I don't have a thick enough skin. It would drive me crazy. I'd never make it. Did a little bit of coaching, and I know the coach level one, a lot of guys grumble about it because I think they feel it's a little bit too basic and kind of go there begrudgingly, but I know that you chose to do this, and I know that once you guys get to this level, I think there's a lot more going on at those clinics maybe than the first couple. So tell us a little bit about what do you do at that clinic?
Basically, they go over how to deal with kids at this age. Going on to the higher levels, right? The AAA programs is a big thing, and then eventually going into junior, which would probably be a goal of mine eventually in the future, right? So it just prepares me for the future, and I'm excited that I got that knowledge. Now I can put it to work for this weekend, coming up weekend.
Perfect. What's one takeaway that you had from the weekend? I know I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but what's the one thing you came back and you said, Bukes, We talked about this. Let's give it a try.
You talk about game? I don't want to talk about the game too much.
No, I don't mean the game even, but just dealing with the kids. What are some of the things they talked about?
Okay, perfect.
Sort of trying to be at their... No, we don't talk about the game on the show.
I was strictly told not to talk about this past weekend, so I'm going to stick to it. Basically things like giving these kids the opportunity later on, more than hockey. It's about life. Especially with coach, that's why we have to get our upgrading so we can deal with a lot of the problems that we have to go through in a season. So it was nice to get that and bring that back. I think that's one of the things I can do is get involved with the kids more. And
No, I love to hear that because I know we hear that a lot, especially when you go to the year-end banquet, right? The guest speaker, a lot of times their message is use hockey as a springboard to other parts of your life and that you're learning life lessons here. And we got a lot of guys that are away from home for the first time. Really, they're not very old. Sometimes they look like men, but they're still kids inside at times. And so I'm glad to hear that you think about that and not just how to teach someone how to take a better slap shot.
Oh, for sure. I went through it. My mom says she lost me when I was 16, and she still hasn't got me back because I haven't moved away from Thompson. So, but yeah, exactly.
She won't buy you a bus ticket home.
No, she keeps me up here, only see intermittently Christmas and summer, right? So, but
yeah, no, that's great. So you got a weekend on the road coming up. 3 games. You got Winnipeg, Eastman, Central Plains, something like that coming up. What do you think you guys have to do to turn things around? We're not talking about last weekend, but what are we going to do this coming weekend?
We have to score. That's the biggest thing. If we don't score, we're not going to be in games, right? Amongst the team, we have set goals. This past November was our month, right? We started off with 3 wins, which was big, but we've lost 3, so we're still on par with winning this month, and that's a big thing going on to the rest of the season because if we get a few wins here, we're not too far back from that playoff run. So I don't want to be talking about that to playoffs, but
we're not jinxing anything.
But you know what? We have to set high goals, and if we don't set high goals, we don't achieve high goals, right? So
love that. We'll check back on that at the end of November, and hopefully we win the month. I like that for a mantra. We're going to do that. We're going to try to get Ben back in the lineup pretty soon too. Fill him full of I don't know what to get him back. Tape it up.
Suck it up.
Healed and helping out. So Cody, thanks for joining me. I appreciate hearing that. I mean, just like the kids, you guys are always upgrading your skills and trying to make yourselves better for them.
Perfect. Thanks, Bruce.
He loves Kenora. This is 2-on-1 where 2 of us gang up on one guy, asking him questions, hard questions, kind of like run into the corner. A 2-on-1. We saw lots of 2-on-1s this past weekend. Saw a few 1-on-0s. 3-on-0. Anyways, we're not going to talk about this past weekend. Things didn't go maybe as well as we hoped, but you guys are heading out on the road on Thursday. What are you looking forward to this weekend? What do you think you got to do to turn things around?
Well, I'm not really sure. This weekend could be good. We beat the Interlake when they come here, and we took Wild to a shootout. So those are 2 teams we play this weekend. I think it could be pretty successful, you know. So we'll see how that goes.
Absolutely. And Rambow, what do you think about this weekend? What do you have to do personally to get these guys to win? Just tell them to jump on your back and let's go?
Probably bring my offensive game up a bit. I'm not getting the puck in the net as much as I would like to be.
And so far, I'm giving you one more, even though we're sort of teaming up on him, I'm giving you a hard time. So you're one of the younger guys on the team. First year, you're starting to feel comfortable out there, and does it feel like home when you're playing with these guys?
Yeah, it does. I'm getting used to it. I don't know, it's good. Getting used to the level now, it's getting good.
You gotta love these guys. He said so. It must be true. Okay, the way the 2-on-1 works is we each throw 5 questions at you, try to stump you, try to throw you for a loop. I'm gonna go first one. I'd say, who do you think the fastest skater on the team is?
This year, I'd have to say Ethan Stuckless. He can move pretty quick when he gets going.
He can fly when he's coming around the outside, 1-on-1 in practice. A little tricky?
Oh yeah, it's hard to keep up with him.
Love it.
Who would most likely win an arm wrestle against Mike?
Against Mike? Ooh. I don't think anybody could beat Mike. He's too jacked. He's pretty big, pretty built.
Who do you think the best arm wrestler on the team would be outside of trainer Mike?
Well, apparently Jerome is undefeated, so I'll have to challenge him. We'll see how that goes.
Linklater? I'm pleasantly surprised. What's your best dance move, and can you show it to us?
No, I can't show it to you. It's a secret. I don't dance, so.
Unfortunately, do you dab?
No, I don't dab. I don't do anything like that.
Very good.
Road trips or home games?
Road trips are pretty fun. I like going on the bus with the boys, you know. pretty fun.
Like that, I'm going to stick on the arm wrestling thing. It seems like we're trying to toughen you guys up. If you were in a street fight with somebody on this team, who would you want to have your back?
Ooh.
Rambow's politicking. He wants him, but...
I don't know, Marco looks like a pretty scary guy. He's got ink now and stuff. I think Marco would be the one to be in a street fight with me.
I wouldn't mind having that guy fly in my wing.
Who on the team is the funniest on social media?
Funniest on social media? Calum or Mackle, they both do some pretty stupid stuff. I mean, Mackle changes his name to Power Ranger and stuff like that, so it's pretty funny. He's one of the guys, I think.
Follow him. We'll try to get his stuff on the screen under here later. So Paul has a superpower. It's when he goes to a supermarket, he always finds the shortest line. He can just feel it. And it's 100% true. I can drink lukewarm drinks and it doesn't bother me at all. It drives my brother, who's on the other segment, crazy. He loves cold drinks. I'm fine with lukewarm drinks. What's your superpower?
I couldn't answer that one. I have no idea. I don't have superpowers. I'm not superhuman or anything.
Okay, we'll get back to you on another episode.
What is your go-to chirp?
Go-to chirp. You're a loser. I don't know. There's no chirps. You can't think of anything. It happens in the heat of the moment, you know.
Fair enough. I like to know that you don't practice those up. You just go with what you got. Your mom.
Yeah, your mom. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah, loser. Last one for me. If you don't have a superpower, do you have a phobia? What are you scared of?
Yeah, sneezing. Apparently, I sneezed today, and Kelsey laughed at me because I looked scared. So.
All right, sneezing. Last question.
Favorite thing about being a North Star?
Just playing hockey. You know, you gotta love that. So, every time you get on the ice.
Love it. Hunter Rambow, Dustin Parker. It's 2-on-1. That puts a wrap on one that I think my mom's going to enjoy. I had my brother Michael on the Minor Hockey Moment along with Craig Nychyporuk. So slowly but surely we're working all the Krentzes into the show. Brady's been on a couple times. We've had Murphy and now Michael. We'll get the rest of them on here too, slowly but surely. So thanks to those two guys. Also thanks to Dustin Parker and Hunter Rambow. Thanks to Kelsey Pollock one more time for some questions that she dropped into the 2-on-1, turning into a guest producer, host, a writer for the show. The show's finally got a writer. This is unbelievable. Talked to Cody Genaille too, a nice chat with him about the coaching clinic that he went to out in the Pas, making himself better and finding ways to make these guys better on and off the ice. Nice to talk to him about that. In case you missed it, last week, one of the guys came ripping onto the ice late because the practice had started, had his skate guards on, and took a wicked face plant. It was fantastic. Check out last week's show for a look at that. Congratulations to the Norman Wild girls. Callie Cummings, natural hat trick. They got a win on Saturday afternoon. Didn't quite win on Friday night, but strong showing by them. And we're looking forward to big things from them. The guys are on the road this weekend doing a 3-game road trip. And that's it. I think that's all we got to talk about this time around. Join us next time when we do it all again, right here on the Northstars Show.